I didn't expect Isha to match my pace immediately. Her mouth said goodbye, but she stepped right in front of me instead. Let me walk you out. I gave her a quick glance. Aren't you busy? She leaned in slightly, her voice carrying a hint of inexplicable grievance. Busy, super busy, but if I don't make a good impression, and get gently turned down with an "I'm not coming back," I'd be so embarrassed. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Then good luck. With that, I got into the car and drove off. Isha stared at the fading taillights for a long time before heading home. But the moment she walked in, she was caught red-handed by Auntie Lee, who had been waiting in the living room. Auntie Lee looked right at her, and her first words hit like a truck. Is that the man you've got your heart set on? Isha's usually aloof expression instantly softened. She nodded. He is the man I like. Auntie Lee instantly lit up with excitement. Oh, that's just wonderful. You finally have someone by your side. But Isha's next words brought her crashing back to reality. Auntie Lee, I don't even know if he likes me back. Auntie Lee's bubbling fantasies shattered in an instant. She gave her a look of pure exasperation. You are so useless. Where did all that bossy confidence go? Isha let out a helpless sigh. He's only visiting Harbor City for a vacation. He'll be leaving before long. Auntie Lee brushed it off. Then go after him with everything you've got. Chase him until he decides to settle down right here in Harbor City. But Isha just shook her head. Auntie Lee, he is a free spirit. Wherever he wants to be is entirely his choice. And what if he doesn't want to stay? Auntie Lee voiced her doubts. Isha didn't hesitate for even a second. Her eyes frighteningly determined. Then wherever he goes, that's where I'll go to be with him. Auntie Lee raised a hand and gently tapped Isha on the head. You silly girl, then you better work hard to make him fall for you sooner rather than later. Otherwise, you might go all that way to see him, and he might not even want to see you. You'll be the only one left heartbroken. I know, I will, Isha promised. If she hadn't known that Lu Chen had just gotten out of a relationship and was still healing his heart, she definitely wouldn't be using this slow and steady approach to make him slowly accept her feelings. For the first time in her life, Isha felt she was facing her most difficult challenge yet. But thankfully, Lu Chen's current attitude showed that he probably didn't dislike her. The next day, I picked up some street food from outside and headed back to my hotel. But the moment I stepped out of the elevator, I was completely stunned. My room door was standing wide open, with several strangers gathered right outside. An arrogant, bossy voice echoed from inside. Clean this place up right now. My friends will be here any minute. What the hell? Without my permission, they actually broke into my room. Furious as I was, I didn't storm over right away. Instead, I turned around and dialed my older sister, Lu Siki. The second she answered, I dropped my voice to a whisper. Sis, check your messages. Right after that, I rapidly typed out a message on WeChat. Someone broke into my hotel room. Get your people over here to help, as fast as you can. They outnumber me, and I'm not that stupid. I wasn't about to take them all on by myself. After getting a firm yes from my sister, I hung up the phone and turned around to slip away. But right at that moment, a waiter actually walked out of the room, and spotted me instantly. He yelled out in excitement, Mr. Lu, you're back. Oh, crap. That shout instantly drew the eyes of absolutely everyone, inside and out. They all locked right onto me. My chest tightened. Instead of stopping, I walked even faster. But clearly, they had no intention of letting me go. The very next second, the guys guarding the door sprinted over and completely surrounded me. Right after that, the arrogant guy from the room slowly strolled out. Seeing my face, a flash of pure jealousy crossed his eyes. He looked me up and down, and sneered. Mainlander, I stared right back at him, and replied coldly, is there a problem? No problem at all. The guy named Yang Wei drawled slowly. I'll be using this room now. Take your trash, and get the hell out. Trash? I was so mad I actually laughed. My eyes dropped to the jade bracelet on his wrist, and my disgust only grew. And tell me, sir, what does it mean when you're wearing the trash you're talking about right on your wrist? Yang Wei's smile froze, but then he let out another mocking scoff. What the hell are you talking about? I don't get it. It's fine if you don't speak human. I can dumb it down for you. I slowly put down the snacks I was holding, and stared dead into his eyes. Emphasizing every single word, I said, that jade bracelet on your wrist is called the Heart of the King. It was sold at an auction a few years ago, for 150 million. I paused for a second. Then, I dropped the bomb. And the person who bought it was a businessman from China. His last name is Lu. 150 million. When Yang Wei heard that price, his first thought wasn't fear. It was pure greed. He raised his hand, stroking the jade bracelet. He made his choice in an instant. I have no idea what you're talking about. This bracelet has always been mine. Then, he barked an order right at his bodyguards. Throw him and his trash out of here. Hearing the command, the massive guys immediately lunged at me. I felt a wave of absolute disgust. My hand quietly slipped toward the short blade hidden in my sleeve, ready to fight like hell just to buy some time. But right before their hands could grab me, the elevator doors behind me dinged open. I whipped my head around. There, standing in a crisp white suit, was a man stepping out briskly with over a dozen bodyguards. I recognized him immediately. Yang Dianfeng, the head of my sister's branch office in Hong Kong. Never expected our very first meeting to go down like this. Brother Dianfeng, seeing my savior, I furiously waved my hand at him. I'm over here. Yang Dianfeng sprinted over to my side, and without a single word, frantically checked me up and down to see if I was hurt. Seeing that I wasn't hurt, he finally let out a sigh of relief. I smiled at him. Don't worry, that was way too close. He looked at me and gave a solemn nod. I'm here now. You don't have to worry. Right then, Yang Wei's shrill voice suddenly pierced the air. Yang Dianfeng, what the hell are you doing here? When he saw that the very first thing Yang Dianfeng did was check on me, a mainlander. I could literally see his face drop instantly. He tightly clenched his cuffs and snapped, what exactly is your relationship with him? Yang Dianfeng finally noticed him, his eyes turning ice cold. Oh, it's you. Yang Wei crossed his arms, glaring at Yang Dianfeng with absolute disgust. Yeah, it's me. So what? You're nothing but a worthless reject of the Yang family. You think showing up here is gonna change anything? Let me spell it out for you right now. Whether it's you, or this pathetic mainlander, with just one word from me, both of you will be packing your bags and getting the hell out of here. But Yang Dianfeng just stared at him blankly, then took slow, deliberate steps right up to Yang Wei's face. Right as Yang Wei looked at him in shock, he violently swung his hand up. Smack! A sharp slap echoed, snapping Yang Wei's head hard to the side. 5 bright red finger marks welled up instantly. Yang Dianfeng glared at him, his voice freezing cold. That slap was just the advance interest, Yang Wei. Just wait until the Yang family pays the ultimate price for all the filthy things you've done. Ah, Yang Wei finally snapped back to reality and started screaming like an absolute maniac. Yang Dianfeng, how dare you hit me? I'm gonna completely destroy you. But the second he lunged forward, he was violently restrained by Yang Dianfeng's bodyguards. While the two of them were locked in a standoff, I suddenly spoke up. Hey, Dianfeng, do you mind taking a couple steps to the side? Yang Dianfeng turned his head, and finally realized I was holding up my phone, camera pointed right at the action. Yang Wei noticed what I was doing too, and instinctively clutched his hand over the jade bracelet on his wrist. I shot him a sweet, innocent smile. No need to hide it, handsome. I've already caught it all on video. Oh, and I made sure to get every single one of your faces, too. With that, I immediately looked down and sent the video straight to my big sister, Lu Siki. Just to make sure the evidence was perfectly safe. Then, I kept going. The valuable stuff in my room? It's way more than just that trinket on your wrist. That heart of the king alone is worth 150 million. And I have plenty of other things worth just as much. If even one item is missing, or so much is scratched. Can you even afford to pay for it? However terrified I might have acted before, that's exactly how ruthless I was acting now. I brushed right past Yang Wei and marched into my room. But the very next second, my heart absolutely dropped. It was a total wreck. All my belongings had been trashed and thrown everywhere across the floor. I even saw shattered pieces of a jade bracelet. My god, that was imperial green glass grade jade. Biting down the immense pain in my chest, I held up my phone again to record the whole disaster. Then, I shot an icy glare right at Yang Wei, who was still pinned by the door, and spoke to him word by furious word. Yang Wei, you are absolutely screwed. Mark my words. Yang Dianfeng walked into the room right behind me. His expression just as grim. He asked, Lu Chen, were a lot of things damaged? I let out a heavy sigh, and calmly stated a figure. Quite a lot. Probably a few 100 million. What? Yang Dianfeng and Yang Wei were completely stunned. Yang Wei even shrieked. What the hell are you talking about? How could a mainlander like you possibly carry that many valuables around? I couldn't even be bothered to give him a glance. I just turned right around, and under everyone's shocked gazes, leisurely sat down on the sofa inside the room. Then, I said calmly, save your yelling for when the cops get here. What? You called the cops? Yang Wei instantly blew up at those words. He aggressively tried to storm into the room, but a second later, Dianfeng fiercely blocked him. He struggled like a maniac. Yang Dianfeng, let go of me. But Dianfeng just shot him a cold glare and warned, you'd better not do anything stupid again. Yang Wei touched his burning cheek, and suddenly let out a cold sneer. Here in Hong Kong, calling the cops doesn't work for just anyone. He glared daggers at me. Listen here, Lu, even if you're a mighty dragon, you still have to bow down to me. I simply replied with a single, faint word. Oh, his aggressive punch felt like it had landed on soft cotton. Yang Wei was so furious his face turned green. He wanted to say something else, but I just picked up my phone and walked aside, not giving him a single chance to open his mouth. Hello? On the other end of the line, He-Sha clearly let out a sigh of relief, but beneath her restrained voice, I still sharply caught her unsteady breathing. The police are already on their way, and I'll be there right away too. I lay back in the rocking chair on the balcony. The heavy knot in my chest loosened up quite a bit. I even felt in the mood to tease her. Wow, you care about me that much? I knew she must have. dropped everything and rushed over the second she heard the news. This kind of favor, I'll gladly accept. He-sha seemed to relax as well, a smile creeping into her voice. Well, you're my one and only VIP guest. If I don't care about you, who else would I? One and only? I echoed her words, pressing her further. The other end of the line went silent for a moment. Then, her incredibly firm response came through. Yes, just you. I didn't even know why I felt the need to ask. But some inexplicable urge made me drop the next question. And what about the future? She didn't answer right away, but I could almost hear the steady sound of her footsteps. A second later, her voice echoed through the receiver, striking right at my heart. Only with you. Does thinking about the future even make sense? Before I could even reply, she continued. Ooh Chen, I'm here. I chuckled softly and strolled over to the edge of the balcony, looking down at the bustling traffic below. I'll be waiting for you, beautiful. But right at that moment, Yang Wei's impatient roar echoed from the doorway. Yang Dianfeng, why the hell are you helping him so much? Seeing that Dianfeng didn't even flinch, he lowered his voice and threatened him. What good does blowing this up do for you? You're taking an outsider's side over mine. Aren't you afraid I'll tell Dad? Hearing the word Dad, Dianfeng's cold eyes flickered for a split second, but quickly went back to being deadpan. I'm not the one calling the shots anymore. Then who is? That guy from the mainland? Yang Wei was about to lose his damn mind. But Dianfeng just shot him a dismissive glance and stayed quiet. That completely pushed Yang Wei over the edge. He whipped out his phone. I'm calling Dad right now. The call went through almost instantly. He immediately started whining and playing the victim. Dad, my brother is ganging up with some mainlander to bully me. The man on the other end didn't even bother asking for details. He just roared, put that little bastard on the phone. Just off of Yang Wei's one sentence, he'd already decided it was all Yang Dianfeng's fault. Yang Wei flashed a smug grin at his brother, hit speakerphone, and shoved the device in his face. Dad wants to talk to you. Yang Dianfeng lowered his eyes. His fingers twitched slightly. The pure helplessness and hurt were practically spilling out of his eyes. But right as he hesitated, I violently reached out. I snatched the phone right out of his hand, and spoke straight into the speaker with zero warmth. Who's this? The man on the other end sounded wildly impatient. Put Yang Dianfeng on the phone. I shut him down without missing a beat. No. What are you gonna do about it? Dead silence on the other end, followed by an explosive roar. Who the hell do you think you are? I pretended to think for a second. Then I let out a sly little laugh. Me? I guess you could call me the Yang family's newest debt collector. What the hell does that mean? Yang Liuyao was momentarily stunned. I shot back with maximum sarcasm. Take a wild guess. And before he could even process that, I just hung up right in his face. Then, I tossed the phone back to Yang Wei. Watching him fumble to catch it, I gave him a wicked, cocky smirk. Right at that moment, the elevator doors dinged open. Familiar silhouette stepped out. He-sha. Her eyes locked onto me, burning intensely, like a silent, 1,000-year-old temple bell that had just been struck. It was impossible to stay calm. Without even thinking, just purely running on instinct, she walked straight toward me. Until I noticed her, Sha. My smirk instantly softened into something way sweeter, and I waved at her. The corners of her lips curled up, and she hurried over to my side. Unlike my obvious joy, the guys next to me looked like they'd just seen a ghost. Yang Dianfeng called her name, his face completely unreadable. Sha barely even gave him a nod in response. Her gaze locked right back onto me. Usually, her eyes were completely ice cold. But right now, they held a faint, genuine warmth. How do you want to handle this? I reached out, pulled her close to me, and laid it out loud and clear. Pay up. But then I quickly added, but you don't need to step in. I can handle it myself. Because if I let this local big shot get involved, that would be way too boring. She nodded without a second thought. Whatever you say. This scene left Yang Dianfeng and Yang Wei completely dumbfounded. Is this still the ruthless He-sha? Yang Wei's legs were trembling so badly he could barely stand. If he had known I was connected to He-sha, he wouldn't have dared to touch me even if he had 10,000 times the guts. But now, it's way too late. Mr. Liu. He tried his absolute best to keep his voice from shaking. Trembling, he took the bracelet off his wrist and held it out to me. Here is your bracelet back. About today, do you think we could just let it slide? I scoffed. Let it slide? That is going to be tough. Anyone who knows me will tell you. I hold one hell of a grudge. Then, using just 2 fingers, I pinched the jade bracelet in disgust, dangled it right in front of his face, and tossed it back into his hands. Besides, I don't want anything that's already been tainted. After saying that, I even grabbed a tissue to wipe my hands. Yang Wei's face instantly drained from bright red to a sickly pale. He knew damn well that his father would never dare to cross He-sha just for his sake. It wasn't long before the police showed up. I immediately handed the video on my phone over to the officer in charge. Breaking and entering, causing massive property damage, and completely trashing the place. We have all the witnesses and evidence right here. The police captain nearly jumped out of his skin when he noticed He-sha. But seeing that she had no intention of stepping in, he quickly switched to full professional mode. He immediately gave the order. Mr. Yang, I need you and your men to come down to the station with us. Realizing he was about to be hauled away, Yang Wei, pale as a ghost, stubbornly made a desperate call to his father. After sticking around to give our official statements, Dianfeng and I headed out together. The lawyers will handle everything else from here on out. Mr. Liu, he barely got the words out before I cut him off. Dianfeng, you're just like my sister. Calling me little Chen is fine. My sister is always praising you to me, calling you her reliable and hardworking right-hand man. Hearing that, young Dianfeng froze for a second, his eyes filling with genuine gratitude. Where are you planning to stay now? I knew exactly what he was getting at. A budget motel like that isn't exactly safe. I thought for a moment before asking him directly. Did my sister say if the house she set up for me is ready yet? Yang Dianfeng answered immediately. It has been ready for a while. You can move in whenever you like. Then I will just head over and move straight in. With that, I turned my attention to He-sha. You have any plans for the rest of the day? She answered without hesitation. Nope, I am staying right here with you. Yang Dianfeng knew it was his cue to leave, so he quickly said his goodbyes and took off. Watching him walk away, I couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Dianfeng is so damn cool. But He-sha suddenly chimed in with a rather cryptic remark. He's working for the Rongsheng group now. I tilted my head and gave her a look. I nodded. Yeah, I know. Seeing that I had no intention of explaining any further, she dropped the subject. Instead, she just smiled and said, let's go. I will help you move your stuff. That immediately piqued my interest, and I couldn't resist teasing her a little. You are going to carry my boxes with your own 2 hands? But you are the almighty president he. Using you just to help me move is a bit of an overkill, don't you think? She couldn't hold back a laugh. Reaching out, she poked me right between the eyebrows. Be serious. Far from being mad, I totally pushed my luck, leaning my face right up close to hers. Aren't I handsome? My face was inches from hers. I could even see the soft peach fuzz on her cheeks. She instantly panicked and darted her eyes away. It took a long moment before I heard her throatily squeeze out 2 words. Very handsome. That finally brought a satisfied grin to my face, and I didn't miss the chance to praise her. President, he really has great taste. Before long, we pulled into Harbor City's most luxurious villa district, Grandview Estates. But when I pulled up to the address Brother Peak gave me, a flash of total surprise crossed He-sha's eyes. I casually asked, what's wrong? I honestly didn't expect her to say, if I told you that my house is right next door, would you believe me? Talk about meant to be. I immediately held my hand out to her. Well then, please look out for me from now on, new neighbor. She lightly grasped my fingertips, pulling away almost instantly. Please look out for me too, Mr. Liu. Even though I knew she barely spent any time living here, things were going to be very different from now on. She helped me lug my bags into the room, and then headed straight back next door. I just stood there by the floor-to-ceiling windows on the 2nd floor, quietly watching her walk away. Meanwhile, the real show over at the Yang family was just getting started. Yang Liuyao had pulled every string he could, but the cops still flat out refused to release him. Their lawyer's only way out of this mess was for me to agree to settle out of court. But I stubbornly rejected their lawyer's meeting requests 3 times in a row. It wasn't until the 3rd day that I finally got a call from my own lawyer. Mr. Liu, President Yang wants to see you. Right then, I was deep into a sweaty 5-on-5 match. I just told him to make the guy wait. I'm busy right now. The very next second, the announcer's quad kill voice line blared from my game. My lawyer calmly hung up the phone, offering a perfectly polite smile to the stiff, awkward faces of the Yang family. Please wait just a moment, everyone. Mr. Liu is currently tied up. Yang Liuyao forced a tight, entirely fake smile. He sure is busy. Meanwhile, I was scowling at my phone screen. Man, these teammates are absolute trash. To pull off a 1 versus 4 and wipe them out, while they go 4 versus 1 and still manage to get clapped. Unbelievable. I swallowed down my frustration. I quickly finished up the match, and only then did I finally hop into the car. By the time I finally showed up, the crowd in that room was completely out of patience. As I strolled into the private room, Yang Liuyao finally put the pieces together on why He-sha was backing me up. Still, he didn't even budge from his chair. His cloudy eyes just glared at me with utter contempt. Spit it out. How much cash is it gonna take for you to let my son off the hook? He seriously figured that since He-sha wasn't around, he didn't owe me an ounce of respect. But I just walked right past him and planted myself in the seat of honor. I took a slow, deliberate sip of my tea, and then raised a single finger. 1 billion. Mr. Liu, your appetite is a little out of control, wouldn't you say? Yang Liuyao scoffed, totally brushing it off like I was just messing with him. I just leaned back into my chair, crossed my arms, and stared him down. You talk such a big game, yet you can't even cough up 1 billion? Don't come in here acting like some high roller in front of me. I snatched the photos my lawyer held out, and slammed them down right in front of him. Do you even have a clue how much that bracelet your son stole is actually worth? You know how much the jade bracelet he smashed was worth, right? 1 billion, and that's a discount, just out of respect for Dianfeng. Yang Liuyao hadn't taken those photos seriously at all before. But now, he had to pick up the appraisal report on the table. And the more he read, the uglier his expression got. In the end, he gripped the report so hard it crumpled. Forcing down his blazing anger, he retorted, "There's no way you lost this much. Wei only took the jade bracelet." I blinked. "Oh, who says? They're my things. Whatever I say I lost, is exactly what I lost. Keep in mind, all these items have customs entry records at the airport. And since they're missing now, I naturally have to blame the illegal trespasser, young Master Yang. Of course, if you, Mr. Yang, have proof that he didn't take them, I'll just accept my bad luck." Yang Liuyao's face instantly turned livid. He had never loathed Yang Wei's sheer stupidity as much as he did right now. But 1 billion? He couldn't cough up that much even if he sold himself. After taking a few deep breaths, he finally forced a fawning smile. "Why don't you tell me, Mr. Liu, how exactly you'd like to settle this?" I looked at him thoughtfully, then suddenly shifted the topic. "Yang Dianfeng is also your son, isn't he?" Yang Liuyao's heart skipped a beat. With a stiff expression, he replied, "That's right. I hear you and you're on pretty good terms, Mr. Liu." I smiled. "Oh, we're on great terms. I absolutely adore Dianfeng." Hearing this, he let out a sigh of relief and quickly said, "Since we're practically all family here, how about doing this as a favor to Dianfeng? And letting Wei go? What do you say?" "Sure." I agreed so quickly and easily that even the lawyer behind me froze in shock. But the very next second, my smile grew 10 times wider. I tapped my fingertips on the table. "As a favor to Dianfeng, as long as you give him back the shares his mother left him, I'll cut the compensation amount right in half. Not only that, I'll drop the lawsuit completely, and let your precious son walk free." How does that sound? Impossible. Yang Liuyao refused without a second thought. That's 10% of the Yang family's shares. If I give them to him, wouldn't that little bastard completely slip out of my control? Hearing this, my eyes instantly went ice cold. I leaned forward, the smile not reaching my eyes. "Mr. Yang, I think you've misunderstood something. I'm not negotiating with you. I'm notifying you. Either you settle on my terms, or Yang Wei can march straight to prison like a good boy." And of course, I smirked. I know Yang Wei alone isn't enough leverage. So, how about I add every single business partnership between Rongsheng and the Yang family to the mix? That massive bombshell hit Yang Liuyao so hard it completely knocked the wind out of him. It took him a long time to gather his senses. Trembling, he asked, What the hell do you mean by that?" I gave him a half smile. "When you forced Dianfeng into that partnership with the Yang family, you never imagined this day would come, did you? Right now, over half of the Yang family's projects are funded by Rongsheng. The second Rongsheng pulls its funding, every penny you've invested goes right down the drain. You probably considered the risk. You just didn't believe Dianfeng would actually do this to the Yang family. After all, it holds his mother's lifeblood. And in your eyes, Dianfeng was never anything more than a corporate tool working for Rongsheng. He's just an employee. Of course, he can't represent Rongsheng, let alone make any real waves. Right?" I paused. I even gave him some credit. "Actually, you're not completely wrong. Dianfeng really wouldn't dare touch his mother's legacy. But, I'm not him. What the hell does the Yang family have to do with me? Worst case scenario, your family goes under. And my Rongsheng will just prop up someone else." After saying that, I calmly took a sip of my tea, completely ignoring the way he glared at me like he wanted to rip me to shreds. "Who the hell are you?" Yang Liuyao finally forced the words through his clenched teeth. He looked at him with innocent eyes. "I told you already, I'm the biggest creditor your Yang family has." The moment those words dropped, Yang Liuyao's whole world seemed to spin. He must have figured out exactly who I was. But he still tried to make one last desperate stand. "Aren't you afraid my Yang family will drag Rongsheng down with us?" Hearing that, I burst out laughing right then and there. Why on earth would I be afraid? Rongsheng playing this little game with your family is like losing a single finger to us. Do you really think I'd give a damn? Ha 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 ha. Good. Losing a single finger. Yang Liuyao threw his head back and let out a manic laugh. He almost tumbled right out of his chair. He knew that Rongsheng's empire spanned the entire globe. Crushing a tiny little ant like the Yang family wouldn't take them any effort at all. But his Yang family didn't dare to play that game. They didn't have the right. And they certainly didn't have the backing. He had lost. Lost, completely and utterly. Yang Liuyao leaned heavily on the table and pushed himself to his feet. He looked like he had aged 10 years in a split second. Finally, he bowed his arrogant head, and pleaded with the broken voice of a loser. "Mr. Liu, I'll have Dianfeng sign the share transfer agreement the moment I get back. Please, show us some mercy. Please spare Wei and the Yang family." I nodded. My attitude instantly shifted back to that of a clueless kid. Business is business, right? But you still owe me every single penny of that compensation. Yang Liuyao looked like he was about to cough up blood, but all he could do was force a pathetic smile, and stiffly walk away. Watching his retreating back, I let out a cold sneer. "Old bastard, did you really think Dianfeng was just a lapdog for your family?" Muttering to myself, I pulled out my phone and made a call. On the other end of the line, Lu Siki's voice didn't sound surprised in the slightest. Is it handled? Yeah, I replied, but then my curiosity got the better of me. Hey, sis, you care an awful lot about Dianfeng. Are you hiding something from me? The line suddenly went dead silent. Lu Siki was flashing back to the very first time she laid eyes on Yang Dianfeng. Just a lone Chinese guy in a classroom packed with foreigners, yet he didn't show an ounce of fear. He had even debated the professor with absolute confidence when put on the spot. But this incredibly tough guy had also broken down crying in the pouring rain, looking absolutely pitiful. Later on, Lu Siki had someone bring him an umbrella, and even pulled strings to make him her personal assistant. She originally wanted to keep him with her abroad, but he insisted on transferring to the Hong Kong branch. He climbed his way up from the very bottom to become the general manager. Years later, she received a call from him. He had said, "Boss, long time no see," and she had replied, with genuine warmth, "Congratulations," but the words she kept to herself were something else entirely. Yang Dianfeng, long time no see. Sis? Hearing no response for a good while, I called out again, and Lu Siki finally snapped back to reality. She gave a light cough, pretending everything was perfectly fine. Yang Dianfeng used to work in my assistant department. He was basically my right-hand man, so he deserves a little preferential treatment. I dragged out a long, deliberate "oh," and then burst out laughing. Alright, I get it. Hearing that, she rolled her eyes so hard. No you don't. What exactly do you think you get? I just shook my head with a wicked smirk. Don't you worry about what I get. Just know that, I get it. Seriously, this sister of mine. Even though she's been in a couple of relationships, she's never cared this much about anyone. I mean, with her net worth. It's always been other people trying to read her mind, kissing up to her, and putting her on a pedestal. Seeing her actually consider someone else's feelings like this, outside of family, this was a massive first. And of course, the price I paid for teasing her was her angrily slamming the phone down on me. I scoffed. Wow, someone can't take a joke. Muttering to myself, I grabbed my things to leave the private room. But the second I reached the door, I bumped into someone I completely didn't expect. Before I could even dodge out of the way, the guy walked right up to me. Lu Chen, it really is you. My expression instantly turned ice cold. Yeah, it's me. Can't believe you're in Hong Kong. No wonder Shen Qingshuang hasn't been able to find you anywhere. Lu Chen acted all buddy-buddy, greeting me like an old pal. I'm just here in Hong Kong for a vacation, too. Why don't we hang out together? No need. I turned on my heel, ready to walk away. I've got things to do. Come on, don't be like that. Lu Chen quickly grabbed my arm. Even if you and Shen Qingshuang are having a fight, we're still friends, right? Friends. I let the word roll around on my tongue. And then, I gave a slow, ambiguous nod. But the very next second, right when he thought he had me fooled, I suddenly asked, so, and you were secretly texting my location to Shen Qingshuang just now, was that also because we're friends? Did he really think I didn't see him furiously typing away on his phone? It didn't take a genius. I knew exactly who he was texting. Caught red-handed, Lu Chen started stammering out an excuse. I just wanted you two to clear up the misunderstanding. And then, the nerve of this guy, he actually started lecturing me like he had the moral high ground. Look, Lu Chen, who in our circle is actually completely innocent? Qingshuang has stayed totally devoted to you for so many years. She's done more than enough. Nothing even happened between her and that Xiao Chusheng guy anyway. Why did you have to pull this disappearing act and make her so worried? She's lost so much weight over this. I get that you're throwing a tantrum, but enough is enough. If you push her away for good and break her heart, you're the one who's going to regret it. Hearing all that garbage, I burst out laughing right in his face. What? Are you Shen Qingshuang's dad or something? Defending her this hard? What? Are you hoping that when you end up crippled one day, she'll be the one kneeling by your bed, wiping your ass and emptying your bedpans? Why the hell are you talking like that? Lu Chan's face turned bright red in an instant. I just rolled my eyes at him in disgust. Oh, and you think what you're saying sounds so sweet? At least I'm actually speaking a human language. Every time you open your mouth, it's like you're farting. It stinks to high heaven. I sarcastically mimicked his exact tone from a second ago. Who in this circle is actually clean? Peeved. That's your circle, not mine. You expect everyone else to be just like you? Trash belongs in the dumpster. Stay the hell away from my fabulous self. Don't you dare come near me. After saying that, I pulled out a tissue and wiped the exact spot he had just touched. Then I threw the tissue right at his face. See you never. Shen Qingshuang's absolute nobody of a sugar daddy. Dropping that, I walked away without even looking back. What the hell? Lu Chen pointed at my back, stammering, you, for a solid minute. He looked absolutely furious, but the moment he looked down and saw Shen Qingshuang's reply, his anger completely vanished. He wanted Shen Qingshuang to track me down, after all. Meanwhile, Chu Li, who was on duty to keep an eye on me, was absolutely thrilled by my cursing skills. She directly clipped the audio from the surveillance and dropped it into the group chat, spamming a whole row of thumbs up emojis. Then she typed, "Not gonna lie. I, Chu Li, have never bowed down to anyone in my entire life, but I am completely sold on Lu Chen's mouth. From personal attacks to absolute soul cleansing, the sheer destructive power is terrifyingly good." Wen Wan, who clicked the file too fast, instantly got a dark, speechless look on her face. That was way too immersive. I felt like I was the one getting pointed at and cursed out. Chu Li burst out laughing. "If Lu Chen knew about the messed up things you've done, I guarantee he would curse you out even worse." Wen Wan's face immediately darkened. "Nobody's going to think you're mute if you keep your mouth shut." Even though she said that, Wen Wan just couldn't let it go. The only man she truly loved was Simu. Even if he was technically her brother in name. As long as she wanted him, she absolutely had to have him, even if the whole world condemned her for it. They were all completely aware of the crazy things Wen Wan had done. But knowing about it was one thing. Agreeing with it was another entirely. Yet, Wen Wan absolutely refused to listen to reason. Just then, someone unexpectedly popped up in the group chat. Luo Sha, who usually never caused a fuss, chimed in. "I never expected someone as amazing as Lu Chen to curse someone out so ruthlessly." Hearing that, Chu Li laughed so hard she couldn't stand straight. "Oh, you guys haven't even seen Lu Chen's truly unhinged side yet." Chu Yu, however, sharply caught the most crucial piece of information in the video. "Wait, so, who exactly is Shen Qingshuang?" Instantly, Chu Li felt her scalp go completely numb. "Unsend. Quick, unsend it. Why the hell would you bring up the one thing you shouldn't ask about?" Although Chu Yu had no idea what was going on, she immediately unsent the message. However, He Sha, who just happened to open the group chat at that exact moment, caught the whole thing. "I saw that." Instantly, the chat went dead silent. Chu Li hurriedly tried to laugh it off. "Bro Sha, I was keeping a close eye on him just now. Lu Chen didn't take any crap from them." And by didn't take any crap, that old geezer Yang Liuyao walked out of the private room looking pale as a ghost. His legs were literally shaking. It was the very first time she had ever seen Yang Liuyao look like that. Trying to cover up Chu Yu's little slip-up, Luo Sha totally played along. Yep, exactly. From what I've seen of Lu Chen's personality, he's totally not the type to let anyone walk all over him. But then, He Sha directly tagged Luo Sha. "You're absolutely right. My Lu Chen would never let anyone walk all over him. Unlike you." With just one sentence. Brutal. Luo Sha instantly logged off in tears. And went to settle the score with Chu Yu. After He Sha killed 2 birds with 1 stone, Wen Wan couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Sister Sha, why tease Luo Sha like that? He doesn't have any bad intentions." "True." He Sha lazily tapped the screen. "He really isn't like you. Aiming all your dirty thoughts at your own adopted sister." Wen Wan wanted to slap herself in the face. Why did I speak up for Luo Sha for no reason? Now look at this mess. I've dragged myself right into it. Out of the 5 people in the group chat, 4 of them were catching strays. Chu Li was trembling in fear, trying to hide, but the very next second, the lightning struck her anyway. He Sha tagged Chu Li. "Grandpa Chu recently told me to send you overseas for training. I think it's a great idea. So I promise to keep an eye on you for him." Chu Li instantly dropped to her knees, begging for mercy. "Don't do this. I was wrong, Sister Sha. I'll never do it again. I'm begging you." The overseas training He Sha was talking about meant cutting off all her bank cards and throwing her abroad. Just thinking about all that foreign food made Chu Li's scalp tingle. "It's gonna kill me," but her messages sank like stones in the ocean. He Sha didn't respond at all. Chu Li sat in the security room, her face turning completely ashen. She wanted to slap herself in the face. Why couldn't I just keep my damn hands to myself? Why the hell did I send that video? I know He Sha protects Lu Chen like the apple of her eye. And I still let him get dragged in the group chat. If this isn't a death wish, what is? The group chat went completely dead. He Sha opened the file. Listening to the name I kept bringing up, her eyes flashing with a strange storm. Shen Qingshuang. He Sha softly repeated the name. Her fingers tapped lightly on the desk. Sounds familiar, but what bothered her way more was this person's identity. Lu Chen's ex-girlfriend. Even with the word ex attached to it, it pissed her off to the absolute limit. But what pissed her off even more was, she didn't even have the right to be jealous of this ex right now. She stared at my silent chat box, feeling like a neglected housewife. She poked my profile picture aggressively. "You finished all your work. And you still haven't thought of me?" Just as she was muttering to herself, a notification suddenly popped up in the chat box. "You patted Lu Chen's head." He Sha completely froze. She scrambled in a panic to unsend it. But my message had already popped up first. Need something? Now she had to have a reason even if she didn't. She could only bite the bullet and use Auntie Lee as an excuse. "Just wanted to see if you were done with work. Auntie Lee wants to take you out to dinner." I stared at the message, teasing her on purpose. Is it just Auntie Lee who wants to see me? She seemed to take the bait instantly, volunteering a confession. "Alright, fine, that was just an excuse. The very next second, she sent an incredibly blunt message. Lu Chen, I'm the one who wants to see you. This girl, even when she's flirting, she's so intensely serious about it. It's honestly just too cute. I glanced at the time and pressed on. How much do you miss me? Who would have thought this question would make her frown in deep thought? She didn't even notice her assistant, Ji Shao, knocking on the door. She let him in, but directly cut off his work report. We'll talk about that later. Right after that, with a more serious expression than ever before, she asked a question that made Ji Shao think the company was going bankrupt. If you tell a guy you like that you want to see him, and he asks how much you miss him, how do you reply without sounding cringy? Ji Shao, who had been mentally preparing a bankruptcy plan, was left completely speechless. Boss, I'm a guy. How could I possibly have a crush on another guy? He cleared his throat lightly. It was Mr. Lu who asked you, wasn't it? Isha choked on her words for a second, shooting him a lethal glare. Ji Shao chuckled. I never would have guessed that the great boss he would actually tell someone she wanted to see them. Isha flushed with embarrassment and anger. She grabbed a folder and threw it right at him. If you don't have anything useful to say, get out. But Ji Shao wasn't scared in the slightest. Instead, he caught the folder with a laugh. I think Mr. Lu. I never said it was Lu Chen. Isha was still stubbornly denying it, but Ji Shao calmly shot back. I never said it was Mr. Lu Chen, either. At that, Isha completely lost her cool. She just threw her hands up in defeat. Fine, continue. Ji Shao cleared his throat, analyzing the situation seriously. In my experience, Mr. Lu is just teasing you. Just teasing? Isha's eyes instantly lost their spark. She had actually thought Lu Chen was being serious. But Ji Shao didn't notice her disappointment, and instead offered a suggestion. The biggest mistake couples make is playing guessing games. If you want to say something, just be direct. Those exact words stuck with Isha, etched deeply in her mind. Meanwhile, on my end, I waited ages for her reply but got nothing. It wasn't until I got home that I finally saw the message she sent. I miss you, so much. That's it? I sat cross-legged on the couch, and couldn't resist typing back. Boss, he took all that time to think, and only gives me a few words? I'm feeling a bit ripped off here. Seeing the words, ripped off, Isha seemed to let her imagination run wild. A moment later, she replied, I'll make it up to you. I raised an eyebrow. How exactly was she going to make it up to me? I wondered to myself, but didn't press her any further. I was perfectly happy waiting for the fish to take the bait. However, just as I stepped out of the shower, my phone rang. It was her. The moment I answered, I heard her breathless voice on the other end, sounding incredibly enticing. I'm right outside your door. My heart instantly skipped a beat. I grabbed my phone and sprinted downstairs. When I threw the door open, there she was. It looked like she had rushed straight over from the office. The corners of her striking eyes were flushed a faint red, giving her exquisite face an unexpectedly bewitching charm. But somehow, the crisp, tailored suit she was wearing managed to rein in that wild allure. I crossed my arms, leaned against the doorframe, and couldn't help but let out a low whistle. Making zero effort to hide my admiration. Did Bossy just rush all the way here from the office? Under my intense, burning gaze, she couldn't help but tense up. A second later, she noticed my damp hair. Only then did she realize I had just taken a shower, so she immediately stepped in front of me. Blocking the chilly wind, I bought some Hong Kong street food. As an apology, she said, gently shaking the row of bags in her hand. So this was her way of making it up to me. I immediately leaned in, eager to take a peek. But to my surprise, she just reached out, pressed her hand against my head, and said, let's go inside first. It's too windy out here. Alright, fine. I had no choice but to let her in, casually shutting the door behind us. I only have disposable slippers here, so you'll just have to make do. I pulled a pair out from the cabinet, tore open the packaging, and placed them right by her feet. Seeing that I wasn't annoyed at all, the smile in her eyes grew even warmer. Without missing a beat, she took it upon herself to carry the snacks over to the dining table. But just as I was about to dig in, she stopped me. Let me handle this. I rested my chin in my hands, quietly watching her slip off her coat. I just reached my hand out to her. Here, give it to me. She handed over her jacket, then took her time, slowly undoing her cufflinks. As she rolled her sleeves up to her forearms, my eyes drifted to the subtle, firm muscle lines showing beneath her skin. It hit me right then. She definitely works out a lot. I hung her coat up and hurried back to my seat. By then, she had already unboxed most of the food. Want to start eating? She asked, sliding a piping hot fresh egg waffle right in front of me. This place is legendary. Go on, give it a try. I shook my head. No, I'll wait until you're all set. Let's eat together. Hearing that, she started unpacking even faster. Still, she ended up getting a little grease on her fingers. I immediately handed her a wet wipe. You're not allergic to alcohol wipes, right? She just shook her head. She wiped her hands clean and took a seat. Alright, let's dig in. Hold on a second, I didn't reach for my chopsticks. Instead, I looked up and asked, "Do you want some wine?" She was visibly taken aback, but I just flashed her a mysterious smile. "It's fruit wine. I brought it all the way from Beijing." That really caught her off guard. It was the very first time I had ever mentioned where I was from. She was probably wondering if I was finally getting ready to open up my heart to her. But she didn't pry at all. She simply nodded and said, "Sure, I'd love some." I immediately brought out a beautifully sealed clay jar of wine. It wasn't very big, but I treasured it like gold. It's homemade mulberry wine. I learned the recipe from a sweet old lady. It is ridiculously good. I shot her a smug, playful look. "You, my friend, are in for a real treat." As soon as the words left my mouth, I expertly popped the cork. Instantly, a rich, sweet aroma of wine filled the air. Without hesitation, I poured us both a massive, overflowing glass. She stared down at her glass, looking just a little bit hesitant. I quickly waved my hands to explain. "Hey, I'm not trying to get you drunk or anything. It's just that this wine is genuinely incredible. Back home, they always kept such a strict eye on my drinking. So today, I am absolutely drinking to my heart's content. I'm just worried about you getting drunk." She confessed honestly. "Oh, I'll be totally fine. I can't get drunk," I promised her, full of confidence. Then I took the lead and raised my glass. Just one word. I shouted it out with heroic pride. She just smiled fondly and clinked her glass against mine. She watched me eat and drink, her eyes filled with nothing but warmth. Almost an hour passed like this, and my second glass of liquor was almost empty. But there were still plenty of snacks left on the table. My hands started itching for more, reaching toward the liquor jug. But Isha just sighed and blocked me with her hand. "Any more and you'll be drunk." "No, I won't." I stared at her with a flushed red face and dead serious eyes. I emphasized every single word. "Isha, I am not getting drunk." The moment the words left my mouth, I grabbed the hand she was using to block me. I pulled hard, but it didn't budge. I stared hard at her hand, completely confused. I was using all my strength, wasn't I? But wow, her hand was so pretty. Because she was tensing up. The lines on the back of her hand were much sharper than usual. I kept staring at it, and suddenly reached out, gently pressing my index finger against it. Right under her stunned, wide-eyed gaze, I started tracing the path of her veins. My fingertips felt unbelievably warm. Her heart skipped a beat, and her throat went completely dry. "Lu Chen, are you drunk?" She tried to pull her hand back while I wasn't looking, but I was faster and grabbed it tight. "Don't move," I scolded softly, glaring at her impatiently. "Let me feel it." I said it with absolute, undeniable confidence. Isha took a deep breath. She looked at me clinging to her hand, her temples throbbing. She let out a helpless sigh, and tried to pull away, only to find she couldn't move it at all. I let out a little scoff, then suddenly yanked her hand right up to my cheek. I tilted my head and nuzzled softly against the back of her hand. "I like this one." Feeling her own heart racing wildly, Isha used her free hand to quietly push the liquor glass away. I guess letting me play with her hand was better than me throwing a fit over more booze. But out of nowhere, I started bossing her around again. "Give me the other one. That one is too hot." "I don't like it." Isha sighed helplessly yet again, and surrendered her other hand. I felt it carefully, making sure I liked this one too, before breaking into a huge, satisfied smile. "Perfect. This one isn't hot." The moment I said that, her desperately calm face instantly flushed bright red. "Oh, I get it now." Her first hand only got hot because I kept rubbing it, and it was making her shy. Just as she was feeling relieved that my attention was stuck on her hands, I suddenly looked up. "Isha," I said in a dead serious tone, staring at her without blinking once. "Your face is so red. You must be drunk." I pronounced every syllable with absolute clarity. I didn't sound like a drunk person at all, but she just facepalmed with a heavy sigh. Lu Chen couldn't help but smile bitterly. "Are you even going to look at who's the one that's drunk? Let me see. Is there really such a good deal?" My eyes instantly lit up. I suddenly stood up under her stunned gaze. "Lu Chen, what are you?" She looked at me in confusion. The next second, I took a massive step right in front of her, grabbed her shoulders, and pushed her back. Then I quickly leaned in. "Let me see." Before she could even react, the tip of my nose was just 1 millimeter away from hers. If she moved forward even a tiny bit, she would touch my nose. She instantly froze, terrified of making a huge mistake. But I, the instigator, was getting bolder and bolder. My burning hot hand went straight for her earlobe, giving it a pinch, like I had found some fun new toy. "Isha, you have earlobes." I rubbed her earlobe out of curiosity. "Oh, for God's sake." Isha's heart was thumping wildly in her chest, on the verge of losing control. "Lu Chen," she gritted her teeth, turning her head to avoid my breath, coaxing me in a flustered panic. "Stop playing around." "What?" I blinked my eyes innocently. "Why won't you let me play? They feel so soft." I immediately played dumb and pretended not to hear her. Isha was instantly speechless. "You heard me perfectly well." She mercilessly exposed me. I was immediately unhappy. I lowered my eyes and stared at her, pretending to be fierce. Just when she thought I was getting angry, My gaze started trailing down her nose, her lips, all the way down. As if I was trying to see right through her shirt. Finally, my eyes locked onto a certain spot. Lu Chen. He jolted, terrified by my stare, and jumped up to stand opposite me faster than she ever had in her life. Don't you try anything. Her voice was actually shaking, like an innocent girl being teased. But I just looked at the panic on her face in confusion. Trying to understand, what are you so scared of? She felt like she was going completely crazy. I was clearly fully conscious. But my actions didn't seem like a sober person at all. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to stay calm. I am not scared. You're just trying to cover it up. I rolled my eyes at her, and complained self-righteously. It's not like I'm going to take advantage of you. Besides, didn't you just beg me to let you look? When did I ever? Halfway through her sentence, she suddenly realized she actually did use the word, look. But she definitely didn't mean looking like this. She explained helplessly, you misheard me. I didn't mean it like that. I let out an "oh," and then gave her a faint glance. The smile vanished from my face. Seeing me like this, her heart lurched violently again. After a long pause, she actually gave in. She walked right up to me, bent down, and said in utter resignation, fine, look, but, no touching. At this moment, He-sha had only one thought. She was totally wrong. What's the point of reasoning with a drunk? As long as he's happy. I tilted my head, watching her being so incredibly obedient. I finally curled my lips in satisfaction, though I wasn't really focusing on her. Instead, I just stretched. Alright, I want to go to sleep. Bedtime. Hearing this, He-sha froze, and asked the stupidest question of her entire life. How do we sleep? As soon as those words came out, it scared me half sober. But I still earnestly started to explain the basics to her. Wash your face. Close your eyes, and sleep. A moment later, she followed me closely upstairs. Seeing me go into the bedroom, she had just sighed in relief when I suddenly spun around on my heel and walked straight into the guest bedroom. He-sha, I called out. When she walked over, she saw me holding a brand new toothbrush, grinning right at her. And this too. I dug out a face towel and a bath towel, shoving them into her arms one by one. Then I left, completely satisfied. He-sha stood there holding an armful of unopened stuff, feeling a total mix of emotions. Even though he was dead drunk, he was still looking out for her. She suddenly felt that she might really be doomed to fall for me in this lifetime. He-sha, my drunken hollering came from outside again. She hurriedly rushed out, only to see me brushing my teeth, mouth completely full of foam. I tilted my head, blowing a bubble of toothpaste as I tried to speak. He-sha couldn't hold back a laugh. She looked deeply into my eyes. Good night. A few minutes later, she stood by the bed, watching me sleep soundly, all wrapped up in the blankets. It took a long time before she finally turned off the light and left. But, she didn't go home. Instead, she slept in a guest room right next to mine. She left both doors wide open, terrified that a drunk like me might throw up and choke in the middle of the night. Luckily, right up until the next morning, I slept incredibly well. She placed the delivered porridge and hangover soup on the table, left a note, and headed to the office. At noon, I woke up dying of thirst. I dragged myself downstairs with heavy eyes to get some water from the kitchen, and only then noticed the 2 thermos containers on the table. I frowned in confusion. Where did these come from? I put down my water glass and inspected them closely. After making absolutely sure they weren't time bombs, I popped the lids open. Instantly, a fresh, sweet aroma of rice wafted out. I swallowed hard, realizing I was actually starving. But I didn't grab my chopsticks right away. Instead, I looked around. I remember having dinner with He-sha last night. And then what? As I tried my hardest to remember, bits and pieces of last night started floating back into my mind. I have this specific quirk. No matter how blackout drunk I get, the next day, as long as I try to jog my memory even a little. Or honestly, I don't even have to try. As long as I walk past the exact spots where I made a fool of myself while drunk. My brain just automatically replays it for me, so, when I fully realized how I took advantage of He-sha yesterday, I just froze right there. My eyes went completely wide, absolutely filled with shock. The person who practically threw themselves at her and acted so damn justified about it was actually me. Holy crap. I covered my face and fell back onto the couch, screaming silently. Just destroy me now. I don't want to live anymore. The fact that I'm so thirsty for her has actually reached the point where my subconscious is making the moves for me. How am I supposed to ever face He-sha again after this? Should I pretend I don't remember a single thing? Would she even buy that? Right then, I just wanted to dig a hole and bury myself alive. But the reality is, that idea is completely unrealistic. Just then, the doorbell rang. I dragged myself over to open it, feeling completely dead inside. A few seconds later, when I saw He-sha standing right outside the door, my mind just went completely blank, and I instantly slammed the door shut. By the time I realized what I had just done, it was way too late. This is the exact definition of making things so much worse by trying to hide. Even through the door, I could swear I heard her laughing outside. I took a deep breath, and resigned to my fate, I opened the door again. I know I was way out of line last night. Go ahead, yell at me. I kept my head down, looking like a total coward ready to accept whatever punishment. But Hisha just stared at the cowlick sticking up from the top of my head, her smile growing even deeper. She actually raised her hand, and ruffled my hair like she was petting a puppy, as I looked up in total shock. Her lips curved into a smirk as she teased, "You're pretty cute, you know. Besides, how do you know I wasn't entirely willing? Huh? Has this woman really lost all her shame to this point?" I grumbled in my head, just as I was about to brush her hand off my head. I saw Isha's face suddenly leaning in close. In her deep, dark eyes, I could clearly see my own stunned reflection. "Lu Chen." Before I could even pull away, she used that incredibly seductive voice of hers and slowly asked, "Do you know what I wanted to do, when you were this close to me last night?" I don't know why, but my eyes just involuntarily dropped right down to her sexy thin lips. I nervously pursed my own. I have no idea what she wanted to do, but I definitely know what I want to do right now. As if she could read my mind, a soft, teasing laugh brushed against my ear. Very next second, she stood up straight and pulled her hand back. And as she walked past me, she dropped a single line, "My thoughts are exactly the same as yours." Wait, what? I frantically chased after her. What thoughts did I have? No, hold on. How on earth did she know what I was just thinking? Too bad Hisha totally ignored me. Her eyes fell on the untouched bowl of porridge and the hangover tea sitting on the table. Just woke up? I really wanted to push the question, but then I realized it'd make me look way too desperate. So I just replied with a single word. Right after that, I watched Isha casually stroll right into the kitchen, grabbing bowls and spoons like she practically lived here. As she served up the porridge and soup, a wave of guilt instantly washed over me. "Don't tell me, you cleaned up the whole dining room last night too?" Just while I was at it, she set the porridge on the dining table. "Come and eat." She was being so thorough and considerate about everything, it really gave me the illusion that she wasn't trying to date me, but rather raising a son. Seeing that she had already pulled out a chair for me, I walked over and sat down. Taking a spoonful of the yam porridge, I asked, "Aren't you going to eat?" She pulled out her phone and glanced at me. "I already ate at the company cafeteria." "Then why did you?" I was just about to ask why she came over if she'd already eaten, but halfway through my sentence, it hit me. I shut my mouth right on time, but Hisha wasn't going to let this perfect opportunity slip by. She spoke in a slow, teasing tone. "I came to see if our young Master Lu had finally gotten out of bed." I aggressively swallowed a huge mouthful of porridge, acting as if what I was chewing on wasn't the melt-in-your-mouth yam porridge. But her instead. As a result, Hisha actually couldn't hold it back, and let out a soft chuckle. She was laughing so openly, radiating absolute delight, which really ticked me off. I forcefully poked the spoon around in my bowl. I didn't even do anything funny, alright? Her acting like this made it seem like I was her personal dose of adrenaline or something. I quickly finished eating, seeing that Hisha was about to stand up and clear the table. I hurriedly raised my hand to stop her. "I'm seriously not totally useless. I can do it myself. What kind of guy constantly makes his guests do the chores?" So, I grabbed the thermos and the bowl, took them to the kitchen, rolled up my sleeves, and started washing. But who would have guessed that Hisha had followed me in at some point, and was just standing at the kitchen door, staring at me. Instantly, I felt this weird wave of awkwardness. It cleared my throat. "Do you just not believe that I can actually do housework?" "No, I believe you." Hisha shook her head. "Then why are you staring at me?" I kept talking to her, while my hands never stopped scrubbing. Hisha casually replied, "I was just afraid you'd get bored. Keeping you company, that's all." "Oh, is that right?" A wicked smile suddenly crept onto my face. Since when did our boss switch careers to become a chat companion? Does it pay well? I jumped at any chance to tease her, completely having the time of my life. Surprisingly, Hisha didn't get mad at all. She actually played along, putting on this very thoughtful expression. She waited until she saw me place the bowl into the sterilizer cabinet, then finally answered. "It doesn't pay all that much, honestly. But the main perk is keeping the client happy." After saying that, she handed me a paper towel, then smoothly took the thermos back from me. Smiling, she asked, "Right, Mr. Lu?" I wiped the water off my hands, and strutted right past her with a proud little swagger. "I'd say your service is just average." "Very average." Hisha quickly caught up to me as I tried to slip away. "Well then, Mr. Lu, why don't you tell me exactly what's so average about it?" I stared at her figure for a long moment, then let out a totally fake sigh of pity. "Everything else about you is top tier. It's just, you're way too reserved." I made sure to really emphasize that a chat companion should be a bit more, well, you know. More what? I couldn't believe Hisha was actually asking me for advice so humbly. Oh, now I was fired up. I motioned for her to sit down, then started counting off on my fingers, ready to give her a full lesson. First of all, to be a good chat companion, you've got to have some manners. And how exactly do you show these manners? I leaned in sideways toward her. When you run into a staggeringly handsome client like me, you better remember to call me handsome. so. I narrowed my eyes, tilted my chin up, and teased her like she was a little pet. Come on, call me handsome. He-sha looked at me helplessly, and flatly refused. I'm not doing this. Why not? I was totally disappointed. I really wanted to hear her call me handsome. Just thinking about it gave me a thrill. But He-sha didn't take the bait at all. Yet, just when I thought she was going to drop it, she fought back a smile and suddenly leaned in close. The tiny bit of space between us vanished again. My breath hitched, but she seemed completely oblivious to how nervous I was. Do you like my voice? She was obviously just changing the subject, but she sounded like an absolute siren. I froze for a second. Did I say she had a nice voice because I actually liked it? Yeah, I did. There was no point in denying it. I stared right back at her and openly admitted it. Yeah, I do. I answered her with total honesty, without a single ounce of flattery. But I caught the way Yi-sha's eyes tensed up for a split second. But she quickly covered it up, curling her lips into a wicked little smirk. Thank you for the compliment, Mr. Liu. I immediately raised an eyebrow. That's it? Our eyes met. I could see the smugness in her eyes. She nodded, looking perfectly satisfied. That's it. I was so annoyed that I didn't get the reaction I wanted. I pulled away and complained straight to her face. You are so unprofessional. Yet she actually flattered me without missing a beat. Well, that's why I'm waiting for you to keep teaching me. She even threw in that with all my experience, teaching someone would be a total breeze. I just rolled my eyes at her, as if she actually wanted to learn. She was clearly just playing games with me, just messing around, seeing right through her little act. I instantly lost the mood and slumped back against the sofa. I threw my hands up. I'm done playing. So boring. Now I was actually dying of boredom. I had already been everywhere worth going in Hong Kong. Now, I was just sleeping in every day and staring blankly into space. I kind of even wanted to go back to Beijing. Just when I was feeling totally dead inside, He-sha suddenly spoke up. Do you want to take a boat out? My eyes instantly lit up, and I shot right up from the sofa. Out on the water? She nodded. Yeah, but we have to get it approved first. If you want to go, I will have someone arrange it. I nodded like crazy. I had never been out on a boat in my entire life. All that frustration from just a second ago vanished into thin air. I scooted right over to her side. When is the earliest we can go? The day after tomorrow, I guess. There's heavy rain tomorrow, so it won't work. I nodded quickly. He-sha looked at me, and then checked the time. Suddenly, she said, I need to head back to the office. I was a bit confused. Aren't you taking a lunch break? It was only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. She explained that the company has a lounge, and she has an important meeting this afternoon where she needs to take charge. After saying that, she got up to leave. I quickly followed and walked her to the door, sincerely thanking her. Thanks for caring. Coming to check if I'm still alive even when you're so busy. He-sha waved her hand. Don't mention it. But right before she left, she actually added, just, maybe drink a little less next time. She smiled helplessly, her eyes completely full of affection. A drunk Mr. Liu is really quite a handful. I immediately behaved and took the scolding. Looks like I really caused her a ton of trouble last night. I'll definitely be more careful next time, and won't drink too much. Who knew she would actually say, all right. Then you were dismissed. After that, she waved her hand and took big strides away. I was completely dumbfounded on the spot. Dismissed? Not some boy toy in her royal harem. I was roasting her like crazy in my head, but I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. As soon as I got back to my room and pulled out my phone, I saw a message from Ji Yuxiao. Lu Chen, are you in Harbor City right now? My heart skipped a beat, and I replied with a question mark. Ji Yuxiao immediately fired back another text. You really are there. I didn't plan on keeping it a secret from him, so I just admitted it outright, and immediately asked, how did you find out? Even though I already knew the answer deep down. Sure enough, a second later, Ji Yuxiao's response confirmed my suspicions. That loudmouth Lu Chen spilled it. Then, he sent the word and, right before a voice message popped up, I tapped play, and Ji Yuxiao's furious voice blasted through. Lu Chen actually claimed that you became a sugar baby for the head of the He family in Harbor City. He even said you threw your weight around to get his best friend thrown in jail, and forced him to give up hundreds of millions and a bunch of shares just to buy his freedom. The ridiculous part was that some idiots actually believed it. Listening to Ji Yuxiao's voice, my face instantly turned icy. I could only try to calm him down first. Don't worry about all that nonsense, and just ignore them. But I didn't expect Ji Yuxiao to catch something off about my response, because I didn't exactly deny the part about hooking up with the head of the He family. With shaking hands, he typed out a message. No way, right? So, is the head of the He family actually pretty? When it came to He-sha's looks, I had no intention of keeping it from him, so I gave him a straightforward reply. Absolutely breathtaking. A second later, Ji Yuxiao's dramatic wailing came through. God damn it, such a perfect catch, getting snatched up by a pig. I completely missed why he was having such a meltdown. I was even planning to share more about He-sha's stunning beauty. But then he actually sent me a text saying, Lu Chen, Block me for a bit. I need a moment to calm down. As my absolute biggest fanboy, he just couldn't handle the fact that I had fallen for someone else again. Oh well, I replied feeling a bit guilty, then blocked his number out of pure habit. A few minutes later, I unblocked him again. You calmed down yet? This wasn't the first time he'd made that kind of demand. I was already used to it. I'll manage. Ji Yuxiao sent a weary voice message, and then got down to business. Since we both know you're in Harbor City, Shen Qingshuang definitely knows by now, too. If she comes looking for you, are you gonna see her? I replied, not really caring. Let's see if she can even find me first. I wasn't giving her an opening, because I knew exactly what was going on. If Shen Qingshuang actually dared to show up in Harbor City, she would absolutely never find me. Unless Isha didn't know about my past with Shen Qingshuang, and decided to stay out of it. But was that even possible? Isha only acted sweet and innocent when she was in front of me. But that didn't mean she was actually harmless. I held onto my phone, and suddenly missed her a bit, even though she had just left not too long ago. Looking out at the clear blue sky, it was really hard to believe a massive storm was rolling in tomorrow. Otherwise, I could have seen her sooner. But just as I turned on the TV, the doorbell actually rang again. My heart skipped a beat. Did Isha come back? After all, here in Harbor City, she was the only one who knew I lived here. Still, I carefully checked the security camera just to be safe. But when I saw a completely strange man on the screen, my eyebrows instantly pulled together. The guy looked to be in his 20s, with a pretty handsome face. But he looked a bit frantic. I checked to make sure nothing else looked off outside before opening the door. Who are you? The guy froze the second he saw me. He stepped back to double-check the house number. Realizing he was at the wrong place, he quickly started apologizing. I'm so sorry, I think I've got the wrong house. Right at that moment, I noticed the cut on his knee was actively bleeding. It was all covered in dirt and grit. He lowered his head and turned to leave. But for some reason, I just blurted out, "Hey, do you need some help?" He stopped in his tracks. He clearly needed it, but he shook his head anyway. No, I'm fine. The person I'm looking for should be living right next door. He said it like he was answering me, but also like he was trying to reassure himself. I leaned against the doorframe, and casually dropped the question, is the person you're looking for named He? Wait, you know her? He snapped his head up in total shock. Seeing the look on his face, I knew I had guessed right. This guy really was looking for Hisha. Her place and mine were on the exact same side, with the exact same layout. It was an easy mistake to make. I wasn't really planning on getting involved, but that bloody knee was just too hard to ignore. I hesitated for a second, but asked anyway. Who told you to come here looking for her? Hisha rarely even stayed at this place. Anyone who actually knew her wouldn't come looking for her here. Plus, didn't he even try to call her first? He seemed a bit taken aback by the question, but answered honestly anyway. I went to her office, and her secretary said she was here. So, I just came over. I gave a slow nod. Seeing how roughed up he looked from his injuries, I just gave it to him straight. You're too late. She's already left. Zuo Ran was completely caught off guard. Then, his voice came out, full of panic and anxiety. Where did she go? I shut him down immediately. No comment. There was no way I was going to just hand over Hisha's whereabouts. Giving him even this much of a heads up was purely out of guide code. But the second the words left my mouth, the guy's eyes instantly welled up with tears. And to make things worse, it looked like he was trying really hard not to cry in front of a total stranger. He actually tilted his head back, forcing the tears down. I'm sorry. Zuo Ran choked out, sorry for bothering you. With that, he gave me a slight bow and started hobbling away. I stared at his back, completely at a loss for words. Hold on, do you want to come inside and get those cuts cleaned up first? Moving around like that, there's no way those wounds are gonna close up on their own. Now I finally got why a minor scrape was still bleeding like crazy. Zuo Ran whipped his head around, staring at me with those watery, puppy dog eyes. Can I, really? I nodded. I stepped to the side. Yeah, you can. Come on in. But even after I gave him the green light, he just stood there frozen, biting his lip. After a long pause, he hesitated. But, if you help me out, it might end up dragging you into my mess. Honestly, I was getting a little exhausted. So I just fired back. What if I told you I'm not afraid of a little mess? Would you believe me? Who would have thought that right after I said that? The tears vanished from his eyes in a flash, instantly replaced by this look of absolute trust and pure admiration. I believe you. And then came a crisp, bright, thank you. Feeling like I just accidentally picked up a fanboy, I gestured toward the door. Get in here. He nodded eagerly and hobbled into the house. But the second we reached the entryway, he hit me with those hopeful eyes again. Do you have any slippers? I'm a bit dirty right now. Turns out, he had basically slid down the hillside on his knees. From the waist down, he was completely covered in mud and red stains. I pulled a spare pair of slippers out of the cabinet and tossed them to him. Here, put these on. As he slipped them on, he introduced himself. I'm Zuo Ran, by the way. I'm 24. Why the hell is he telling me his age? I muttered to myself, though out loud. I gave him an honest answer. Lu Chen, 22. Oh, you're younger than me. He perked up, staring right at me. Does that mean I can call you little bro? Bro, little bro Lu Chen. A shiver went straight down my spine. I quickly shook my head, politely shutting that down. Well, alright then. He looked genuinely bummed out. But he didn't push it. Once he finally got his shoes changed, he went right back to staring at me with that painfully eager expression. Alright, I get it. Head upstairs, second door on the right. You can use that room. Go take a shower first. Change your clothes and come back down. I'll take care of your wounds. I took him to the guest room and grabbed all the toiletries he'd need. I made sure to remind him. Don't let water run over those wounds for too long. Make it quick. Okay, thank you so much. He was honestly touched beyond words. But little did he know, his kind-hearted buddy Lu Chen had already sold him out. I pulled out my phone and shot a quick text to Hisha. A guy named Zuo Ran just came looking for you. I noticed his knees were all banged up. He looked pretty pitiful, so I let him stay over. I knew she was probably busy, so I didn't think much of it after hitting send. By the time I finally got a reply from Hisha, that guy, Zuo Ran, was already fast asleep on the couch. Hisha's message read, just finished my meeting. Then a second message popped up. Is Zuo Ran still at your place? Has anyone come looking for him? I sat there on the rug, binge watching my show. Glanced over at Zuo Ran, who was frowning even in his sleep, and replied. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. A second later, Hisha's reply made my heart skip a beat. Zuo Ran likely ran away from the Zuo family. As for why he escaped, I'm still not entirely sure. I'll let you know once I figure it out. But my attention was completely stuck on the word escaped, thinking back to how battered and exhausted he looked earlier. If he was running for his life, then everything suddenly made perfect sense. But wait, the Zuo family Hisha mentioned. Could it be the exact same Zuo family Wen Wan was talking about? Right as I was piecing it together, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Zuo Ran's head suddenly slip. I instinctively reached out to catch it, but I didn't expect that slight touch would completely startle him awake. The next second, his eyes darted to my hand holding his head. And only then did the pure panic in his eyes fade away. I calmly pulled my hand back. Go sleep in the bed, I told him. Zuo Ran frowned. What about you? He asked. I just pointed at the TV. I'm still catching up on my shows. Who knew he'd instantly scoot right over next to me? He murmured softly. I can't fall asleep on my own. Let me just stay here with you. Yeah, right. Like hell I believe that. It wasn't that he couldn't sleep. He was clearly terrified that Wen Wan was going to track him down and hurt me while she was at it. I raised an eyebrow. Seeing the sheer exhaustion in his eyes, I didn't call him out on it. So, I just got up, made him a cup of honey water, and went back to my show. But now, he really couldn't fall asleep. Holding the warm mug, he slid off the couch and sat down right next to me on the floor, bringing it up as if he just casually remembered. I heard from Wen Wan that Sister Sha has been getting really close lately. With a really handsome guy. My eyes flickered. The Zuo family. It really was the exact same family Wen Wan was talking about. Seeing that I wasn't going to reply, he took a small sip of water. And asked tentatively, I'm guessing. You must be that guy, right? His eyes suddenly lost their light. It was like he suddenly remembered he'd have to go back to the Zuo family soon, and wouldn't be able to hang out with me anymore. Watching his mood completely crash in a matter of seconds, the joke I was about to make just died in my throat. Terrified that I might accidentally make the guy cry, I just pinched the bridge of my nose. And finally sighed. I honestly don't know if I'm that guy or not. But it's true that I'm handsome. Zuo Ran, whose eyes were red just a second ago, immediately burst into laughter. Lu Chen, you're so full of yourself. But then he quickly agreed in all seriousness. Though, you really are the best looking guy I've ever seen. I smiled and took the compliment. Thanks. Right after that, he suddenly lowered his voice, acting all mysterious. Do you want to hear some gossip about Sister Sha? Gossip? And about Hisha, no less? Who wouldn't want to hear that? Zuo Ran thought for a second before continuing in a hushed tone. Sister Sha has never been in a relationship. Not even once. I was shocked. With a face like hers, Hisha didn't exactly look like an innocent saint. He nodded with absolute certainty, then dropped an even bigger bombshell. Before, people in our circle actually suspected she liked women, and even set her up with a stunningly beautiful girl to be her girlfriend. I was stunned, but my eyes completely lit up for the tea. And then what? I asked. He hurried to continue. I don't know the exact details. I just know that the girl didn't even get to see Sister Sha's face before being kicked out. As for the family that sent the girl, Sister Sha completely cut off their business deals, driving them right to the edge of bankruptcy. I thought there was going to be some spicy drama, but it was just this? Still, that totally sounds like something Hisha would do. Seeing my slight disappointment, Zuo Ran looked around and whispered, do you know what everyone started saying after that happened? I raised an eyebrow. What? He cleared his throat and spilled the mother of all secrets. They say, Sister Sha doesn't know how to do it. Think about it, the almighty head of the He family who rules over Harbor City actually doesn't even know how to do that kind of thing. How embarrassing would that be? So they think, to save face, Sister Sha shuts out both men and women, just because she's terrified people will find out she has zero experience. She doesn't know how. My eyes went wide. Like hell she doesn't know. He completely misunderstood my reaction, and actually started explaining it to me like a biology textbook. It means she doesn't know how to engage in deep biological communication between two living beings. You get it now, right? I was absolutely speechless. Was this kind of explosive gossip really something you could just casually blurt out? I quickly shushed Zuo Ran. My heart was hammering in my chest. He Sha has to know about this rumor, right? But Zuo Ran just shook his head, looking totally certain. I'm not sure, but nobody has a death wish to bring it up in front of her. Hearing that, I let out a massive sigh of relief. It seemed this kid wasn't completely brain dead after all. So I pinched his cheek and gave him a dead serious warning. Then you better remember this too. Do not ever mention this in front of Sister Sha. Zuo Ran immediately patted his chest, promising. Don't worry, I'm only telling you this. I never expected a little gossip session would bring us this close so fast. But right then, he tried to stand up and let out a sharp hiss of pain. He had pulled his knee injury again. My heart skipped a beat. Are you okay? Did you pull it when you moved? He caught his breath, and pointed. Lu Chen, I'm gonna use the restroom. I nodded, about to go get him some ice. Letting him suffer like that wasn't an option. But the moment I stood up, I stopped dead in my tracks. I stared at where he was headed, frowning deeply. The bathroom was on the right. He was clearly walking straight toward the front door. Zuo Ran looked like a deer caught in the headlights. He gave an awkward, forced smile, and stammered. I went the wrong way. After saying that, he hobbled awkwardly toward the bathroom. Watching him like this, I'd have to be a complete idiot not to realize he was trying to sneak out. I waited until he was in the bathroom before going to the kitchen to wrap up some ice. We both came out at the same time. I handed the ice pack to him, thought for a second, and decided to just give him some peace of mind. You don't need to worry. I looked him dead in the eye. If you don't want to leave, nobody is taking you out of here. As soon as I said that, Zuo Ran completely froze. He just stared at me blankly, as if my words had unlocked some deeply buried memory. As it turned out, He Sha had said something very similar to him. The year he graduated high school, the Zuo family wanted to send him away out of the country. He desperately ran away, begging He Sha for help. The Zuo family's people were waiting right outside the He family's gates. But He Sha just sent someone out with a single message. Since I've let you into the He household, then unless you choose to leave yourself, no one dares to make you go. Just that one sentence allowed him to stay safely at the He family's place for 3 days. He waited until Wen Wan showed up, and finally got his freedom. But now, hearing those same reassuring words again, Zuo Ran's face was absolutely ridden with guilt. He rubbed his face hard, as if making a sudden decision. Lu Chen, forget what I said about Sha being no good. I actually think she's incredibly loyal. She's basically my goddess. I fell completely silent. My mind went totally blank. Just as I was trying to figure out how to respond to this 180-degree turn, the doorbell suddenly rang out, loud and urgent. All the color drained from Zuo Ran's face. He gripped the ice pack tightly with both hands, wanting to run, but having no idea where to hide. I noticed his panic, and the blood seeping through the bandages on his knee again. I pressed down on his shoulder to calm him. Just sit down and ice it first. Your knee is bleeding again. But Zuo Ran couldn't sit still at all. His voice was actually shaking. Lu Chen, it might be Wen Wan looking for me. He looked down guiltily. I sneaked out. Hiding me is just gonna get you into trouble. Seeing him so absolutely terrified, I just calmly shook my head. It won't. Just sit. Surprisingly, Zuo Ran stopped panicking this time. He listened to me and obediently sat back down, though his red, teary eyes tracked my every move. The moment I opened the door, a familiar voice rang out. Mr. Lu. Zuo Ran's entire body went rigid. Nothing was left on his face but the crushing despair of a sealed fate. Wen Wan? I blocked the doorway. Cutting off her probing gaze, I decided to cut right to the chase. Looking for Zuo Ran? Since she had tracked him all the way to my door, it meant she already knew exactly where he was. There was no point in playing dumb. Yes, Wen Wan was clearly taken aback by my bluntness. But a split second later, a gentle, practiced smile surfaced on her face. Zuo Ran is my fiancé. I'm taking him back with me right now. Fiancé? I raised an eyebrow. I spun around, shooting a sharp look right at Zuo Ran inside the room. Is that so? The sunlight outside was blinding. With the harsh light hitting the side of my face, I could feel Zuo Ran's burning stare fixed on me. He was staring dead at me. I knew exactly what was going through his head. As long as he said no, I would step in and help him. But, did he have the guts? His hand gripped the ice pack tighter and tighter. His eyes darted frantically between me and the woman outside. The smile on Wen Wan's face didn't reach her eyes at all. It was the kind of smile that made Zuo Ran's blood run cold. He knew her too well. The sweeter Wen Wan smiled in public, the more terrifying her wrath was behind closed doors. She would lock him away, completely cut him off from the rest of the world. He'd be nothing but a monitored puppet. Wen Wan spoke up again. Her tone was sickly sweet, like she was coaxing a lover throwing a tantrum. Ran, stop acting out. Let's go home. It was almost pure instinct. The second Zuo Ran heard those words, he actually started to stand up, wincing in agony from the gash on his knee. But his legs felt like they were filled with solid lead. He couldn't force himself to take a single step. Seeing him freeze up, Wen Wan's tone instantly darkened. Her voice dropped, heavy with a chilling warning. Be a good boy. Through this whole exchange, I didn't say a single word. I just stood there, quietly watching Zuo Ran. I knew he was waiting for me. No, he was waiting for himself to make the call. Finally, he met my encouraging gaze, and in a flash, the hesitation in his eyes vanished into absolute resolve. No, Zuo Ran suddenly spoke up. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried undeniable weight. He stared right at Wen Wan, though it felt like he was speaking to me, too. I am not your fiancé. I never was, and I never, ever will be. Hearing that answer, I let out a smile. The very next second, I shifted my weight and firmly blocked the doorway again. Shielding him from Wen Wan's venomous glare, I spoke with a teasing edge to my voice. Now, Miss Wen, let's not be so hostile. You're scaring my guest. Mr. Liu. Wen Wan's patience had completely run dry. I know Shaw thinks highly of you, but you have absolutely no right to interfere in my business. I gave a soft chuckle. Unfazed, I casually extended my right hand. Maybe there's just one little detail you're missing. I paused, letting every single syllable sink in. My voice rang out, crystal clear. Let's reintroduce ourselves. Lu Chen, Rongsheng Group. A pleasure, Rongsheng Group. As soon as I said those words, Wen Wan's pupils shrank in shock. I wasn't in any rush, though. I just watched her with a faint smile, waiting for her to process it. And sure enough, she just stared blankly at my outstretched hand. What is your relationship with Rex? I calmly pulled my hand back, not embarrassed in the slightest. If anything, my smile grew a little more wicked. Well, if you're asking from a business perspective, I dragged out the words, enjoying the increasingly ugly look on her face. The shares I hold in Rongsheng are exactly equal to Rex's. But, if you're asking about our blood ties, I watched her expression twist in absolute shock, the smirk on my lips deepening. Rex is my sister, and as for the word cousin, hey, the bond between us is thicker than any immediate family. After hearing that, Wen Wan had no choice but to reevaluate me. She glared right at me and asked, does Shaw know? I could tell she was starting to question my real motives for coming to Hong Kong. But I just shrugged, giving her an incredibly cryptic smile. Maybe she does. Wen Wan fell totally silent, but her gaze suddenly shot past me, locking onto Zuo Ran inside the room. The flickering light from the TV lit up a determination in Zuo Ran's eyes that I had never seen before. It also highlighted the bitter pain and resentment on Wen Wan's face, the agony of chasing something for years and never getting it. For some reason, it looked like she had just been stabbed right in the heart. She actually stumbled back 2 steps. Then, she forced a smile that looked worse than crying. Well, since Mr. Liu insists on keeping my fiancé as a guest, I won't intrude any longer. I just hope Mr. Liu takes very good care of my Ran. I fired right back. Of course, we're incredibly close friends now. My words twisted the knife in Wen Wan's heart. In that second, she realized that my taking care of Zuo Ran had absolutely nothing to do with her. Wen Wan's heart hit rock bottom. She knew damn well she couldn't afford to cross me. This time, she was destined to leave empty-handed. After she made her humiliating exit, Zuo Ran dragged his injured leg over to me, hobbling all the way. His face was a picture of pure shock, bewilderment, and absolute disbelief. She really just left? I replied casually. But a split second later, I frowned, pointing right at his knee. I told you to sit still. Look at that, it's bleeding again. Zuo Ran clumsily shuffled back to his seat, looking completely dazed. His brain was probably weathering a Category 10 hurricane right now, trying to figure out how Rex, the person even Shaw feared, could possibly be my sister. Meanwhile, the second Wen Wan stepped outside, she scrambled to call He Shaw. The moment the call connected, she demanded, Lu Chen is the mysterious eldest young master of the Vincent family. Did you know about this? But from the other end of the line, He Shaw just laughed carelessly. Sounds like you didn't have much luck with Lu Chen, huh? He Shaw, Wen Wan snapped, her anger flaring up. Someone that dangerous is right here in Hong Kong. Are you really just going to sit back and do nothing? But surprisingly, He Shaw just laughed it off. I don't care what his background is. In my eyes, he is only ever Lu Chen. He Shaw even dropped a line that almost made Wen Wan choke on her own breath. Even if he really is just here for the He family's core secrets. If he wants them, I'll gladly hand them over. Wen Wan completely lost her mind. She indignantly demanded, aren't you afraid he's going to ruin the He family? But He Shaw just casually twirled her pen, looked out at the evening sunset, and let out a soft sigh. My only fear is that it might rain the day after tomorrow. After all, he promised to go out to sea with me. If it rains, what if my young master Lu gets angry? Wen Wan fell into complete despair. She knew that as long as I stepped in, he Sha would absolutely never help her. But the next second, she changed her tune, asking through the phone. Sha, I heard you're going out to sea the day after tomorrow. Yeah, then she quickly asked, you want to come too? Wen Wan immediately pressed. Can I? I mean, sure you can. He Sha's voice sounded incredibly casual, but I can't guarantee that Lu Chen will bring Zuo Ran along. Hearing this, Wen Wan started playing the sympathy card. Sha, for the sake of us growing up together, can't you just help me out this once? But he Sha fired back without a shred of pity. Does Lu Chen look like the kind of guy who listens to me? Besides, I warned you about the Zuo Ran situation a long time ago. I told you not to push it too far. But what did you do? You straight up put the guy under house arrest. Ending up in this mess. I can only say you brought it all on yourself. He Sha even brought up last time, saying that if Chu Li hadn't coincidentally run into them, what Wen Wan would be guarding right now would be a dead body. But even so, Wen Wan still didn't show the slightest hint of holding back. I know what I did was wrong. But I really can't lose Iran. Wen Wan's voice broke into a sob. Her eyes were bloodshot red. Sha, you have someone you love now, so you should know exactly how I feel. If one day, Lu Chen walked away from you, or fell in love with someone else, could you really just stand there and watch him leave? That question made Isha instantly freeze on the other end of the line. Of course she couldn't. If that day ever really came, it would definitely mean she hadn't done enough for him. At that thought, Isha decisively hung up on Wen Wan. The very next second, my phone started ringing. I had just finished washing some fruit and didn't have my phone on me. It rang once and then stopped. 2 minutes later, she called again. Looking at the caller ID, I felt a rush of smug satisfaction. I deliberately made her wait 2 seconds before picking up. But unexpectedly, from the other end came Hisha's inexplicably haughty voice. Hello? I shot my phone a suspicious look, double-checking that I hadn't answered the wrong call. Then I asked, you're in a good mood? Your voice is practically floating on cloud 9. Hisha gave a soft cough. It's alright, I guess. I explained that I was just washing fruit, and then tapped open the message she had sent. But the more I read, the wider my eyes got. I looked at Zuo Ran next to me in absolute shock. Hey, just hang out here in the living room for a bit. I need to go upstairs and make a quick call. By the time I frantically scrambled up the stairs, before I could even catch my breath, I was already demanding answers from Hisha. Zuo Ran is Wen Wan's adopted brother? Hearing me panting through the phone, Hisha actually had the nerve to laugh. Couldn't you have run a little slower? How could I possibly slow down? I threw myself onto the rocking chair, and while trying to catch my breath, I frowned and asked the one question that was killing me. Does Wen Wan want to be with Zuo Ran just because she genuinely likes him? Or does she have some ulterior motive? I was absolutely positive. If it was just pure affection, someone with Zuo Ran's personality would never react with such intense resistance. The text Hisha had sent me was literally just one sentence. Zuo Ran ran away from the Wen family because he refused to be engaged to Wen Wan. But thanks to my killer intuition, I instantly guessed that Wen Wan's motives were far from innocent. Thinking about all that messy drama, Hisha was getting a headache over it too. She took a moment to get the timeline straight before she finally started explaining it to me. On the surface, Zuo Ran is just an orphan adopted by the Wen family, but in reality, he's actually the son of Wen Wan's mother's first love. What? My mind was completely blown. Hisha didn't seem surprised by my reaction at all. She just calmly continued, back in the day, Zuo Ran's dad and Wen Wan's mom were forced to break up because their family backgrounds just didn't match. After that, Wen Wan's mom married her current husband, and Zuo Ran's dad, completely heartbroken and giving up on love, ended up marrying a girl a coworker set him up with, who became Zuo Ran's mother. Wow, completely heartbroken, my ass. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. If you can't even get over your ex, what right do you have to drag an innocent person down with you? Hearing the pure anger in my voice, Hisha actually smiled quietly on the other end, and nodded in agreement. Honestly, I feel the exact same way. Right? Finally having someone on my wavelength made me feel a whole lot better. I crossed my legs, getting comfortable, and demanded, keep going. Alright, Hisha replied with a fond, teasing tone. And then, with that sweet voice of hers, she dove right into the juicy history that had once shocked all of Hong Kong. Wen Wan's parents had her during their very first year of marriage. And Zuo Ran was born exactly 1 year later. But compared to Wen Wan, who was born with a silver spoon in her mouth, Zuo Ran's life was tragically miserable. At this point, even Hisha's voice dropped into a heavy sigh. When Zuo Ran was 3, his mother died from an illness. Then, the year he graduated from middle school, his dad fell to his death at a construction site. Later on, somehow the news made its way to Wen Wan's mother. She ended up taking Zuo Ran into the Wen family, and decided to raise him as her adopted son. But, Hisha's brow furrowed. Wen Wan's mother doesn't actually like him. Honestly, she despises him. So Zuo Ran's life in the Wen household has been absolute hell. In just a few short sentences, my brain had been completely short-circuited over and over again. But I quickly caught onto the main point. I asked, totally horrified. Please don't tell me, Wen Wan only wants to be with Zuo Ran just to spite her mother? Should I give you a prize for being so smart? Sha rubbed her temples. Absolutely floored by how fast I caught on. She let out a long sigh before finally admitting it. In the very beginning, Wen Wan only got close to Zuo Ran. It really was to get back at Madame Wen, a rebellious teenage girl, finding out her mother brought home the son of her first love. Even though her mother didn't actually dote on him, it was still enough to make her suspect her mother of betraying their marriage. So, Wen Wan deliberately pretended to get close to Zuo Ran, even making a massive spectacle of confessing her love to him right before the college entrance exams. And sure enough, Madame Wen flew into a rage. She wanted to send Zuo Ran out of the country immediately. However, Wen Wan, who had always wanted Zuo Ran gone, unexpectedly threw a massive fit against Madame Wen this time. She even threatened to take her own life. In the end, Madame Wen caved. She agreed to let Zuo Ran stay in the country for college, but on the condition that they were forbidden from seeing each other. She figured that without contact, their feelings would naturally fade. But she never expected that those 4 years apart would actually be the catalyst for Wen Wan's feelings toward Zuo Ran to twist into something else. After explaining all of this, Sha carefully chose her next words. Wen Wan was completely out of line back then, but she... Stop right there. I immediately cut her off. As far as I'm concerned, right is right, and wrong is wrong. Not to mention, the only truly innocent person in all of this is Zuo Ran. I let out a scoff, a sudden chill in my voice that even I hadn't realized was there. Forget about back then. From what I can see, Wen Wan right now still has no intention of letting Zuo Ran go. As soon as the words left my mouth, I realized I was getting way too worked up. So I quickly apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snap at you just now. I know. Sha's voice came through the line. She didn't seem to mind at all, and instead, smoothly changed the subject, talking to me about what we needed to pack for our upcoming sailing trip. After chatting for quite a while, it hit me that Zuo Ran was still sitting out in the living room all by himself. So, I decided to wrap things up. Zuo Ran is out in the living room by himself. I should go keep him company. But to my surprise, Sha whined pitifully. Well, what about me? Hearing that sad, puppy dog tone of hers, I couldn't help but cover my mouth and laugh. I decided to tease her a bit. Do you have any idea how the background file I got described you? Her voice on the other end was filled with sheer confusion. And then, using the most deadpan, serious voice I could muster, I recited the exact words from the file. Sha, 26 years old, current chairwoman and CEO of the Shi Jing Group, the reigning head of the He family. Personality, hyper-rational, reclusive, cold and ruthless, completely indifferent to both men and women. With every word I read, I could practically picture her face turning redder and redder on the other end of the line. Eventually, Sha just couldn't take it anymore. She cut me off, her voice cracking with embarrassment. Lu Chen, just go keep Zuo Ran company. But I wasn't finished reading. I finally lost it and burst out laughing. My dearest CEO why are you absolutely nothing like your official profile? I was obviously just messing with her, but after a few seconds of heavy silence, Sha answered, her tone dead serious. Because, I felt like that version of me wouldn't be very lovable. In an instant, her mood completely sank. Lu Chen, all those things you just listed off, I just see them as my biggest character flaws. My heart suddenly ached for her. Sha didn't deserve to feel like that. She can be proud, she can be arrogant, but she should never feel so unworthy. Yeah, unworthy. That word weighed on my chest like a massive boulder. I immediately shook my head, and told her firmly, the He family needs someone completely calm and absolutely strong to take the reins. How could any of those traits be a flaw? Not even in your eyes? She asked, almost too eagerly. It was as if she wanted to throw caution to the wind and confess everything. But a second later, she held back, taking a deep breath. You don't have to answer that. They aren't. I blurted out. Sha's breath hitched. What did you say? She asked, her voice trembling with uncertainty. I let out a soft chuckle, more than happy to repeat myself. I said, they aren't. The kind of person I admire is exactly the kind who thinks things through and calculates every step before reaching their goal. Even if it takes time. Even if it drains every ounce of their energy. Knowing the odds are completely against them, yet still refusing to back down. What I truly love is that raw, solitary courage to lose control, right in the middle of being totally rational. My voice was gentle but firm, like a tangible breeze, wrapping around her so she could truly feel my undeniable bias for her. But what I didn't know was, on the other end of the line, Sha was repeating my name over and over in her head. She knew she had fallen completely, truly helpless against me for the rest of her life. As soon as I walked into the living room, Zuo Ran turned around. He flashed me a bright smile. Lu Chen, you're back. I saved some strawberries for you. Thanks, I replied, walking over quickly to sit next to him. I grabbed a strawberry and popped it into my mouth. Seeing that I was in a good mood, Zuo Ran nudged my shoulder. Was that he Sha on the phone? I raised an eyebrow, shooting him a playful smile. Am I making it that obvious? Not really. Zuo Ran shook his head. It's just, you've got this whole pink bubbles floating around you vibe right now. I knew exactly what he meant and broke into a grin. I'm taking it slow. I prefer the thrill of two hearts carefully testing the waters and drawing closer, rather than a fiery romance that ends in a bloody mess. Right at that moment, Zuo Ran suddenly remembered something. He pulled out his phone and showed me the screen. Luo Sha found out I moved out of the Wen family's place. He's inviting me out for drinks. He looked at me. He invited you too, by the way. Are you going? I asked, my eyes falling on his injured knee. I was about to talk him out of it, but he gave me a determined look. Don't worry, I told him. I've got a plan. So, the very next day, there I was, pushing a wheelchair with Zuo Ran sitting in it, right at the mall entrance. Luo Sha saw us and immediately ran over. He stared at the bandages on Zuo Ran's leg, his face full of concern. Ran, man, what happened to your leg? Zuo Ran looked totally embarrassed. I kinda took a nasty fall. He probably didn't expect that my big plan was just renting a wheelchair for him. Surprisingly, Luo Sha didn't find it weird at all. Instead, he breathed a sigh of relief. As long as you're okay. Let's go shopping then. I'm gonna shop till I drop today. Hearing this, Zuo Ran immediately clutched his wallet, looking like he was in physical pain. But right at that moment, he suddenly stopped and stared right behind Luo Sha. Whoa, check out that beauty. Luo Sha turned around out of curiosity, completely missing how my eyes turned ice cold the second I recognized that silhouette. The girl walked straight over to us. I'm looking for him. She gave Luo Sha a polite smile, before locking her beautiful, affectionate eyes obsessively onto me. Her gaze was overflowing with uncontrollable longing. When she spoke, her voice was so sickeningly sweet it could drown a person. Ah Chen, I'm here to take you home. Ah Chen. Hearing that pet name, Luo Sha and Zuo Ran exchanged a look. Their eyes were practically burning with gossip. But the moment I heard that name, I discreetly furrowed my brows, forcefully swallowing down the surge of pure disgust rising in my chest. I glared coldly at Shen Qingshuang. What did Lu Chan get out of selling you my location? The Shen family is based in Jing City. Their reach doesn't extend all the way to Harbor City. The only ones who could track me down this fast are the locals. Shen Qingshuang wasn't surprised at all that I figured it out, but she completely ignored the question. Instead, she just stared at me with this heartbreakingly sad expression. She let out a self-deprecating laugh. I thought you'd at least ask how I was doing first. Lu Chen, do you have any idea? Every single day without hearing from you has been absolute torture. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I poured every ounce of my energy into finding you. I've lost so much weight just searching for you. Can't you even tell? If this were the past, I would have noticed the slightest change in her instantly. But now, I literally couldn't care less. Shen Qingshuang took a deep breath, an overwhelming wave of pain washing over her chest. Even breathing seemed difficult for her, but I remained completely unmoved. I just stared at her in silence, making it perfectly clear that getting my answer mattered way more than her feelings. Shen Qingshuang's eyes grew red, but she still forced the corners of her mouth into a strained, pathetic smile. She scrambled to defend herself before I could even open my mouth. It's okay. You must just be tired from shopping. That's why you didn't notice. As she spoke, she tried to step closer, wanting to act all clingy and sweet with me like she used to. But the moment I scowled, she froze in her tracks, completely at a loss. I reminded her with a flat tone, completely ignoring the sheer panic in her eyes. Answer the question. This woman standing right in front of me used to be the only one I ever cared about. Now that she's showing up completely uninvited, I seriously can't even pretend to be nice. Shen Qingshuang's hands balled into tight fists. Having been so used to my gentle, loving voice, she simply couldn't handle how cold and harsh I was being. But she also knew perfectly well that if she didn't give me what I wanted right now, I would turn around and walk away without a second thought. After weighing her options, she finally gave in. The Lu family wants a piece of the Jing City project. So that was it. That was the price Lu Chan demanded for selling me out. I let out a mocking scoff. Pathetic. If I were Lu Chan, I would have demanded way more. One single project? Is that really all I'm worth? I completely agree. Shen Qingshuang chimed in immediately. A glimmer of hope returned to her eyes. To her, even a project worth hundreds of millions couldn't compare to a single strand of my hair. But this time, I didn't even spare her a glance. I pushed Zuo Ran along. Let's check out the other floors. But Zuo Ran subtly glanced at Shen Qingshuang and shook his head. I'm tired. I raised an eyebrow. Tired? I'm the one pushing the wheelchair, and I haven't complained. You're literally just sitting there, and you're already tired? We haven't even started shopping yet. I let out a helpless laugh. Alright, fine. If you're tired, we'll skip the shopping. Then, I turned to look at Luo Sha. Wanna come hang at my place? Luo Sha awkwardly scratched his head. Ah, probably not. That silly girl Chu Yu is coming over for dinner later. Zuo Ran dragged out his words, blinking meaningfully. All these years, and you still only have eyes for Chu Yu. Luo Sha threw his hands up. What can I say? Maybe I just like what I can't have. Zuo Ran seemed to remember something. He laughed and said, well, the one you picked is definitely not the one on hell mode. Luo Sha got it instantly, shaking his head frantically. Sha isn't on hell mode. She'd literally send me straight to hell. Hearing Sha's name, it immediately clicked for me. I raised an eyebrow. Is he Sha really that scary? Luo Sha forced a laugh. Your world and my world are clearly very different. He dramatically wiped away a fake tear, patting my shoulder with eyes full of hope. Good luck, Lu Chen. Once you manage to win over Sha, I'll finally have a powerful backer. Just then, a freezing voice cut right in. Lu Chen, are you and he Sha close? Shen Qingshuang couldn't keep her cool any longer. She stared daggers at me. Clearly, the intel Lu Chen reported back must have mentioned he Sha. Shen Qingshuang knew exactly who he Sha was. A complicated family background, arrogant, and absolutely ruthless in getting what she wants. Logically, I would never go for such a troublesome type, which is why Shen Qingshuang didn't believe it at first. But now, she was looking at me with such hurt in her eyes. As if silently demanding to know why I had changed. Meeting her wounded gaze, a familiar ache actually welled up in my chest. Damn it, just the stupid muscle memory of my past feelings acting up. My frown deepened. I was just about to answer, when a tall figure suddenly stepped up beside me. Maybe Miss Shen should ask me that question. A cool, unreadable voice rang out. It carried a chilling edge. Surprised, I looked up. It was actually he Sha. Seeing her slightly messy hair, she must have rushed all the way here. I raised an eyebrow at her. Teasing glint in my eyes. What are you doing here? He Sha quietly ground her teeth, but had no choice but to play along. She leaned in close, a smirk playing on her lips. Luo Sha told me the great young Master Lu was tired of shopping, so I came out of my way to be your chauffeur. I shot a flat look at Luo Sha, who instantly shrank his neck and ducked behind Zuo Ran. I didn't back away from He Sha's closeness. Instead, I just handed her our only shopping bag. I'll leave it to you, then. He Sha didn't hesitate for a second. Reaching out the very hand that had just signed million-dollar contracts, she naturally took my bags. The car's waiting downstairs. Why don't you head down first and wait for me, okay? Her tone left absolutely no room for argument. Alright, I nodded, not even sparing Shen Qingshuang a single glance. I turned on my heel and walked away. Shen Qingshuang completely panicked. He Sha's presence was all the answer she needed. Lu Chen, she reached out, desperate to grab me, but her hand was snatched mid-air. It was He Sha. The silver watch on her wrist caught the cold light. Her elegant, structured knuckles went white from her tight grip. With just one look, Shen Qingshuang immediately knew that these were exactly the kind of hands I obsessed over. I was a total sucker for prey hands. It was a secret only she knew. An invisible hand crushed Shen Qingshuang's chest, sending a sharp, suffocating pain through her. She fought desperately to keep her composure, yanking her hand back. She lifted her chin proudly, glaring daggers at He Sha. Ms. He, why are you stopping me? Lu Chen is just throwing a little tantrum. It's really not appropriate for an outsider like you to interfere, is it? A tantrum? He Sha let out a soft chuckle, her eyes swimming with absolute adoration. Well, it seems Miss Shen and I are very different, she said with a smile. I can promise you one thing. I would never let Lu Chen stay mad at me for almost a whole month. Besides, He Sha's gaze shifted right past Shen Qingshuang. She looked toward my retreating back, her eyes burning with pure, undisguised possessiveness. As far as I know, Lu Chen had already broken up with you before he even came to Hong Kong. Her eyes flashed with mocking amusement. That breakup post is still sitting right up on his timeline. Did you somehow miss that, Miss Shen? That struck a massive, raw nerve for Shen Qingshuang, because she was still fully blocked on my phone. All the color completely drained from her face. The dark, heavy aura around her was suffocating, but He Sha just smiled casually, even giving the shopping bags in her hand a little flaunting shake. Our young Master Lu is still waiting for me to take him home. Miss Shen, I'm afraid I must take my leave. Seeing her about to walk away, Shen Qingshuang gritted her teeth in desperation. Lu Chen and I are childhood sweethearts. We grew up together. What we have isn't something a stranger can just rip apart. Hearing this, He Sha stopped in her tracks with a cold smirk. She let out a soft, mocking, "Oh?" Then she lowered her voice, her words dripping with pure venom. I wonder, back when you allowed someone else to rip apart what you and Lu Chen had, did you ever stop to think this day would come? Shen Qingshuang's head practically exploded with a deafening buzz. It hit her like a ton of bricks. He Sha gave a dismissive scoff. She strode away, leaving a frozen Shen Qingshuang completely alone in her tracks. Her fists clenched so hard her knuckles turned white. Downstairs, Luo Sha leaned against the wheelchair, asking nervously, why isn't Sha down yet? You don't think they're throwing hands, do you? Zuo Ran's eyes went wide. She wouldn't actually beat her to death, right? I listened to them, absolutely speechless. I bet my life on it. These two idiots were saying this out loud purely for my benefit. I shot them both a heavy eye roll and answered dryly. They won't. Both of their heads snapped toward me in unison. What do you mean, won't? She just won't do it. I really couldn't be bothered with these two big babies, but I explained anyway. He Sha won't lay a finger on Shen Qingshuang. Luo Sha suddenly had a light bulb moment. Why not? Isn't she your ex? I couldn't resist smacking him on the head. I said he Sha won't lay a finger on her. I never said she wasn't my ex. I quickly added, an opponent with 0 threat level isn't worth Isha's time. The words had barely left my mouth when a teasing voice drifted over. Lu Chen, are you just having 0 faith in yourself right now, or way too much faith in me? I looked up instantly. He Sha was strolling over, carrying my shopping bags. She's supposedly this aloof, high and mighty CEO, yet here she was, lugging grocery bags. But somehow, she still managed to look ridiculously effortlessly gorgeous doing it. She met my gaze, and actually looked somewhat deep in thought. Honestly, I think, Shen Qingshuang is actually a pretty huge threat to me. After all, I'm not your precious childhood sweetheart. I rolled my eyes at her. The fact that Shen Qingshuang hadn't chased after us meant he Sha had already handled her. This woman, she already won, but she's still playing the victim. Still, since she actually put in the work, I figured I should give her a little reward. Thinking of this, I beckoned He Sha over. Come here. He Sha paused, looking a bit stunned. Then, she closed the distance with those long legs of hers. The second she stopped in front of me, I suddenly reached out and grabbed her by the collar. He Sha's pupils instantly dilated in surprise. Before she could react, he yanked her hard towards me. She stumbled forward, completely caught off guard. Her flawless skin magnified right in front of my eyes, her warm breath lingering right against my nose. Her gaze dropped down, landing straight on my lips. She parted her lips to say something, but I beat her to the punch. He Sha, a perfect, teasing smirk tugged at the corners of my mouth. I slowly raised my hand, and gently brushed a strand of her hair aside. Your hair was a little messy. I said it with a completely straight face. Pure innocence, 0 ulterior motives. In fact, the second I said it, I spun around on my heel, totally ready to walk away. Making it seem like that intense, flirty moment was all just in her head. But honestly, I just teased He Sha. Did I really think she'd just let me walk away? In a split second, her hand clamped down hard around my wrist. The very next second, she yanked me right back against her, slamming her other hand down onto the hood of the car. She completely trapped me in her embrace. He Sha's tall figure instantly cast a shadow over me, caging me in. She leaned down, her eyes suddenly dangerously dark as she stared at me, asking word by word. Teasing me and then trying to run away? Who taught you to play like that? Those two bystanders were practically burning a hole through me with their nosy, gossipy stares. My cheeks flushed totally hot for some reason, but I forced myself to keep cool and looked up at her. Meeting her frustrated, hungry gaze, my own eyes full of absolute defiance. What? You don't like it? I challenged, completely certain she wouldn't deny it. Sure enough, a second later, He Sha's voice dropped, suddenly sounding breathless and almost shy. I love it, but before I could even feel smug about it, He Sha leaned in closer, her voice turning completely husky as she fired back. So, can young Master Lu tease me one more time? She lowered her head, looking exactly like a big dog waiting for its owner to pet it. I startled myself with that thought, but still pursed my lips. Reached out, and poked her shoulder. No way, why not? He Sha protested. I replied with complete and utter confidence. Because I'm shy. He Sha let out a helpless sigh and stepped back. Fine, just remember to flirt with me again when you're not shy anymore. Deal, I nodded. I watched her step back, and then, I bolted without a second thought. But He Sha was already expecting that. She reached out and smoothly blocked my path once again. What are you running for? I grabbed her arm that was hovering right in front of me. I'm not running anywhere. Flirting with someone, only to end up getting flustered and blushing yourself. There was absolutely no way I'd ever admit to doing something so embarrassing. Especially not in front of Zuo Ran and Luo Sha, who were happily watching the drama unfold. I cleared my throat and quickly changed the subject. I'm going home. Then, I gave her shoulder a very serious pat. Take me home, chauffeur. He Sha just shook her head with a helpless smile, but she actually turned around and loaded everything into the trunk. Later, after carrying the stuff into my living room, I immediately waved at her. Take care on your way out, bossy. Acting totally heartless, like I was just tossing her aside after using her. But instead of leaving, she raised her hand and gently ruffled my hair. When she saw that I wasn't annoyed by it, the tense corners of her lips finally relaxed into a smile. I'll have someone drop off some dinner for you later tonight. My heart felt a sudden rush of warmth. I stared at her, totally beaming. How did you know I didn't want to go out or cook? She simply stated, well, you're tired, aren't you?